Hello viewers, this is your Navunita Miss. Today we are going to start the new chapter, Rotation and Revolution. So what is rotation and what is revolution? The primary movements of the earth are rotation and revolution. The earth rotates on its axis from west to east once in 24 hours. This movement called rotation. And the earth revolves around the sun, making one complete revolution in approx 365 1/4 days. That is called revolution. Now come to the next point, that is rotation of the earth and alternation of day and night. Just follow the diagram. The day-night variation directly related to the earth's rotation. When rotating, a part of the earth facing the sun has day and the other part night. Clear? Now come to the next point, effects of rotation. Rotation causes day and night. The variation in temperature is also due to rotation. Means, when a part of the earth receiving the sun's ray accumulates the heat during the daytime and it rises the day temperature, and when at night a part of this given off, the temperature cools down. Next, the apparent movement of the celestial bodies in the evidence of earth's rotation. So these are the effects of rotation. Now come to the next point, that is the Coriolis effect. What do you mean by Coriolis effect? As per this theory, all the moving bodies on the earth's surface like ocean currents, winds are deflected towards the right in the northern hemisphere and left in the southern hemisphere due to Coriolis force, which created by the rotation of the earth. This is called Farrell's law. Clear? Just follow the diagram. In the northern hemisphere, deflection to the right side, and the southern hemisphere, deflection to the left side. Next is centrifugal force and centripetal force. At first we discuss about centrifugal force. The centrifugal force is a force directed away from the axis of rotation and appears to act on all rotating objects about an axis. And the centripetal force is defined as the force act on a body that is moving in the circular path and that is directed towards the center around which the body moves. Just follow the diagram. It will be very clear to you. Okay. Period of revolution. We all know the earth to complete its orbit around the sun, which is about 365 1/4 days. But an ordinary year has 365 days. As a result, every 4 years, the extra means 1/4 into 4, that is 1 day. So the extra 1 day is added with the leap year. That's why in leap year has 366 days, which comes once every 4 years. Next, perihelion and ephelion. Just follow the diagram first. The mean distance between the earth and the sun is about 150 million kilometers. On 3rd January, when the distance is least, near about 147 million kilometers, it's called perihelion. And on 4th July, the earth is at its furthest point from the sun. It's called ephelion. The distance near about 152 million kilometers. Okay. Just follow the diagram. Inclination of the axis and its significance. We all know the earth rotates on its axis, but it is not at right angle to the plane of revolution. The inclination of the axis has important consequence. Because of its tilted position, each pole is inclined alternatively towards the sun twice a year. Okay. When it is summer in the northern hemisphere, it is inclined towards the sun and the south pole is away, hence the southern hemisphere experiences winter. Similarly, during the winter, the north pole is away from the sun and the south pole is inclined towards it, hence it is summer in the southern hemisphere. Now come to the next point, that is the effects of revolution. Just follow the diagram. The sun is directly overhead at the equator on 21st March and 22nd September. Though at times it is referred as 23rd September. Because the year is not exactly 365 days. These 2 days are termed as spring and autumn equinoxes respectively. Just follow. After the spring equinoxes, the sun appears to move north and is directly over a Tropic of Cancer on 21st June. This is termed as summer solstice. 21st June, summer solstice. On 22nd December, the sun shines overhead on the Tropic of Capricorn in southern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere has its winter solstice. So the 22nd December, winter solstice. Okay. So what is the special features of summer solstice and winter solstice? Let's see the figure. The word solstice means sun standing still. On 21st June, the Tropic of Cancer received the direct rays of the sun and the northern hemisphere experiences summer season. So, the southern hemisphere is experiencing its winter season because the south pole is away from the sun. So, the special features of summer solstice are: the duration of day is longer than night. The length of the day increases with increasing latitude north of the equator. Okay. Now come to the winter solstice. Just follow the diagram. The conditions at winter solstice on 22nd December are exactly reverse of summer solstice conditions. The sun shines directly over a Tropic of Capricorn, hence the length of the days increases if anyone goes towards the south pole. The day is longer in southern hemisphere than night. So these are the special features of winter solstice. Next, equinoxes. Just follow the diagram. 21st March and 23rd September are called spring and autumn equinoxes. All the places on the earth have 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. As circle of illumination passes through the poles and thus divides the earth into two equal halves. Hence, the day and night are equal length. Clear? So, all of you go through the study material properly. Thank you. Have a good day.